Hi everybody, my name is April, and I have decided to jump on the YouTube bandwagon, so to speak. I am 48 years old, wife, mother of two, and I live in Northeast Mississippi. On December 14th, 2017, I had vertical sleeve gastrectomy with Dr. Terry Pinson in Tupelo, Mississippi. And I am 9 days post-op. Today is Saturday, December 23rd. And so I wanted to document my experience, and maybe it will help somebody else out there. First of all, I have decided to use the screen name April Fantastic because my life is pretty fantastic, and it's even going to get even more fantastic from here out. I want to go back a little bit. I've always been heavy, always been overweight. More so in the last 15 years or so. Just to give you an idea, I haven't been below 300 pounds in about 20 years. Today, as of today, I am 293. In June of 2015, 2.5 years ago, I weighed at around 410 pounds. I only know that because I had visited a clinic, not a clinic, but a medical supply store, and they had a scale that went over 400 pounds. It weighed like up to 500 pounds, and I weighed around 410, I think it was, and I am. Well, for years I was 5'7". Now I'm 5'5.5". And so that was a lot of weight to be carrying around. I have been sick for a long time, and it was all due to the obesity. In October of 2015, just a few months later, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. And it was a wake-up call because my daughter's 10 years old, and I was an insulin-dependent diabetic with gestational diabetes in 2007. And I knew that it was just a matter of time if I didn't change my eating and my lifestyle, that I was going to get type 2 diabetes. And it happened. When they diagnosed me, my A1C was 12.3. and my sugar was 407. So I was very, very, very sick. Immediately, they put me on Janumet, some pills to take twice a day, and my cholesterol level was up there. My blood pressure was a little bit high, and so I took it seriously, and I started by cutting my portions, cutting out sugar, and within 3 months, by January, I had my A1C down to 5.5, and my sugars were stable. So, and I had lost almost 30 pounds at that point. So, over the course of 2016, I got down to as low as 292, which is a pound lighter than I am now. In October of 2016, I had a hip replacement surgery, and I did so well with my diabetes. I lowered my A1C down to 5.3 that they changed my medication to metformin, and I had lost almost 120 pounds, and I started gaining it back. And my cravings and my appetite came back with a vengeance. It was horrible. And so um, August, end of August this year, I decided to go and see Dr. Pinson in Tupelo, and because one of the social workers I work with had it done, and um, it was at the end of August, and because I have two insurance, I have the primary insurance and my husband's insurance, I was able to do the 90-day fast track program to get the surgery done. So I submitted to, psychological evaluation. I submitted to seeing the wellness coach 3 times, saw the nutritionist 3 times, had 3 visits to the doctor, and also one support group I was required to do as part of the program. So I think my complete out of pocket was right around $800 at the most, which is not bad. Some people have to pay thousands of dollars. So I just I want to document what I've been through, um, what my expectations were, and what really actually happened. So, of course, I've been watching a lot of YouTube people myself, and Nirvana Lee is one. Even though she doesn't have the sleeve, her her, her candor and her wit. I love watching her videos. She's very helpful, very helpful. And so let me fast forward to my pre-op. My pre-op diet for the first 7 days was lean meats, so basically protein and very low carb or no carb, low sugar, no sugar. And then for the 4 days before was a liquid diet. Uh, then the week before surgery, I had to go to a nutrition class, and of course, it was an all-day class at the clinic, um, detailing what would happen with surgery and after surgery, and all of that. So, and they gave you a booklet and everything to tell me, what vitamins I'd be taking and everything that would happen. So I watched all these videos on YouTube of people who had prepared and packed bags ready for surgery, and I overpacked big time. Um, so I overpacked. I brought all of this stuff with me, gas drops, all of that stuff. Turns out I didn't need any of that. All I really needed was um, a an outfit to go home in. So I went in the day of surgery, and very good mood, very at peace. I had prayed, and I was at peace. My husband was with me. My kids were with my mom and my brother, and so I go into pre-op. I got there at about 6:30, and they took me back to pre-op at 7. And they started the IV and medications, and the anesthetist and the doctor came in and talked with me briefly. And my surgery was, they took me back, I think, around 8:30 or 9ish was my surgery. And of course, they wheel you back into the operating room, and they talk to you just a little bit. And for me, they had me move over onto the operating table myself, and that's really all I remember is them telling me to go ahead and count, and I don't remember going past 2, and I was out. And the next thing I know, well, they had already told me in pre-op what room number I would be in, so my husband took our things and went on up. And so after surgery, I guess they moved me while I was under into my hospital bed, and they wheeled my hospital bed to the room. So I get there, and I was completely out of it, still heavily under anesthesia, and my husband was there, and I was just in pain, so much pain, but 90% of the pain was gas pain. It's awful. Well, here's the rub. The only way to get rid of gas pain is to actually get up and move and burp and pass gas. It's disgusting, but it's the only thing that's going to give you relief. They only gave me 1 dose of Dilaudid because I was just crying in pain and I just could not stand it. But then they gave me lower dose pain medication throughout my stay. But within an hour, they had me up and walking the floor. And the floor was a private bariatric floor, so there were only bariatric patients. And there were about 16 of us there. Between the 2 doctors at the clinic, they had each had done about 8 patients that day. And so the floor was like a cross-shaped, and they wanted you to do 11 loops, which equaled a mile. And so I did the best I could. I ended up with 23 loops in 3 days. And it was just, yeah. Anyway, so as far as gown, I didn't change into a gown. I wore the same hospital gown for the entire time I was there. On Saturday, which was the day I was going home, I put my leggings on, but I still had the gown on. And they gave me this robe that I got to keep. It's basically a hospital robe, and the first 24 hours, all they would allow would be ice chips. And of course, I was in pain. They were having me get up and walk. I was frustrated. I was just tired, and then I was starting to get hungry. And then the next morning, just hardly couldn't take it anymore because I guess they did the leak test with the dye while I was still unconscious because they didn't really restrict me from anything until the next morning. So the next morning they came in with a small box, and it had a small bottle of water, and it had Jell-O, and it had some chicken broth. And I got 2 or 3 spoonfuls of the chicken broth down and 1 spoon of the Jell-O, and I could not do the Jell-O. And they wanted you to sip, 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 walk, 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 sip, 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 walk, 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 because you really need to get your fluids in. So I didn't answer my phone. I didn't turn on the TV for 2 days. My husband took all my calls and texts and Facebook updates, all of that. So after a couple days, I finally got to go home that Saturday afternoon and picked up all the medications that they told me that I needed to have before I came home, but I didn't get that done. So follow your doctor's orders, first of all. They're going to prescribe a lot of medication that you need to go and have ready to go when you come home. So you can go straight from the hospital, straight home. And of course I was hungry, so hungry. And it doesn't take much to fill up this pouch. I found that out. We went to Chick-fil-A, my husband got a chicken sandwich, and I got the chicken soup and drank the broth from it, and it was the most amazing thing I've ever tasted in my entire life. Also, Premier Protein. I know most everybody, 99% of the bariatric surgeons and patients push Premier Protein, but that's what you want. Because I had my protein powders, I can't stand the taste of them now. Not at all. I couldn't do it. And I couldn't do just broth. I had made up all this broth like a couple months and weeks before and put it in the freezer, and no. So I bought soups and strained them, and that was much better. And so my second day home, I got my walking in because we went shopping at 2 or 3 different stores. And in the back of my mind, I'm still thinking like a fat person because I'm still fat, of course, but still thinking like a fat person and wanted to seriously get one of those ride-on carts at Walmart. And then I thought, I still have this gas pain because that they fill up your abdomen with gas in order to get to your stomach and do the operation without nicking any of the other organs and stuff. So they have room to work in there. And it took till about Monday or Tuesday for the gas to be completely gone. And so, and when they tell you to sip, 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 they mean it, because you can get sick. Now, I wasn't really nauseated. There were some people who were in the hospital. There were other people that the surgery didn't affect them the way that it affected me. And they were up and walking around, and they were like superstars. And some of these people were older than me, which is kind of embarrassing. But anyway, so we went grocery shopping and Christmas shopping the day after, and that made me feel better. And then Monday didn't really do anything. Tuesday, went to the doctor to follow up with my primary care physician here in town, who, by the way, had the surgery with Dr. Pinson, he and his wife, a year and a half ago. And he asked me how many loops I made on the hall walking, and I said, I made it to 23, and he says, I did 220 something. I'm like, wow, what a show off. So, anyway, so here I am now. Now, Wednesday, I was able to get like 1,800 steps in. We went to the grocery store, we went to the park to walk, and then I hadn't really been out of the house since then. And then today, I got up, got dressed, took my kids to the park, and managed to walk like 960 steps. So, anyway, so that's where I am now. I'm starting to feel a lot better. This liquid diet sucks, and your life after surgery for a few weeks is going to suck because Premier Protein, water, diluted juice, soup, broth, maybe yogurt, that's going to be your diet. And the more exercise you get, the more walking you get, the better you're going to feel and the better you're going to do. And so, that's it for my first video. Well, my second or third. I've got a couple more that I want to upload, but if you have any questions, don't hesitate to call me. Email me. My email address is aprillabee@hotmail.com. APRILLABBEE @hotmail.com. And of course, if you will, subscribe, leave a comment, and that's it. So I look forward to getting to know all of you guys. And also, one other thing, shop around for the best support group online that you can find. Try them out. Read others' posts, because there's a lot of drama.